Hi, this is Mike Dilt with the Relax Back UK show on UK Health Radio, your global real feel-good radio station. On the Relax Back UK show, we explore all kinds of health topics, so keep listening and enjoy the ride. Hi and welcome to this week's Relax Back UK show. My first guest, I have to admit to being rather jealous of.
I get paid to run around like a big kid with playing with guns and jumping off things. I get hit by cars, jump off buildings.
Nicholas Dayne is a stuntman and an all-round cool guy. He talks about the good and the bad and the downright unhealthy part of being a stuntman. Then who doesn't love a great home-cooked meal with family or friends?
Basically, we're trying to create that perfect mealtime opportunity for anyone, really. So whether you're a family, whether you're someone with, not too much time to cook, we're just trying to give you recipes that you can cook at home nice and quickly, nice and stress-free, and then sit down and enjoy with whoever you decide to share it with.
Head chef Andre Dupin of Hello Fresh explains how they helped to make that happen. So please stay with us for a great show. Thank you. I love chatting to stuntman Nicholas Dayne, and my first question to him was, is it fun?
Yeah, it's a great career. Being a stuntman is joining a very elite group of professionals, and it's a very select group. It's very small, it's very tight-knit, but it is great fun. I get paid to run around like a big kid with playing with guns and jumping off things. I get hit by cars, jump off buildings, have to avoid flurries of gunfire. And, it's a really fantastic way to make a living. Obviously, it is dangerous. I have to say that. I mean, even the smallest things.
Well, I'm going to ask you all about being a stuntman and the danger and all the rest shortly. But it didn't start there, did it? You started off your career as an elite athlete.
That's right. I was an international gymnast for Team GB. I was in artistic gymnastics, which is all 6 pieces of apparatus, and then I moved into double mini trampoline and went international with that. But gymnastics is a fantastic background because it gives you such focus, discipline, and real spatial awareness that you can't teach, really, and you develop that over the years, and so it's perfect for the stunt profession. And it really is it was a natural progression. So I really literally fell into it.
Well, I hope you didn't fall too hard. Being a gymnast, you must have been used to falling a bit in training. I'm sure there were some falls. Oh,
lots. And that's what I'm saying. It's a great grounding for the stunt arena. And from there, I was also a highboard diver as well. I got in competitive highboard diver. So that is also
Did you do the diving for Team GB?
No, I got it. Well, I've done it for Team GB in the Masters. So I got into that a bit later after I retired from gymnastics. And then that's been actually my passion in later years. And I'm still doing that now. And I do the World Championships for the Masters, and I love that. It's great, and it's perfect, again, to keep up my training for the stunt world. And right. It's really good at honing in on your spatial awareness. And I use it all the time, actually. I just came back from Croatia doing a commercial for a casino chain, and I'm still doing it. So it keeps me in perfect shape for that.
So you're still diving competitively?
Yes, I'm still doing it. Yep. At the ripe old age of 50, I'm still going. And I love it. I love the competitiveness. I enjoy that very much. And it comes hand in hand with the training. It makes training fun. And I think that is what's important, especially as you get older or in anybody's training regime. It's to make it fun, to make it enjoyable so that it doesn't feel like training. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of everything you do should be fun, if at all possible. But so a lot of elite athletes, whatever sport they've been involved in, when they retire, they go on to do something somewhat related. They become a trainer or a coach or a commentator, that kind of thing. But I suppose being a stuntman is related in that it's very physical. But what made you want to become a stuntman, other than the fact it's really cool, obviously?
Well, it all started actually. I always wanted to get into film and TV. In the beginning, my path wasn't clear. I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to be, but I was doing a day's extra work on the bill many years ago, and there was a stunt being performed where this stuntman had to jump backwards onto a car as it reversed from a platform, and he wasn't actually really getting hit by the car. He was just jumping backwards and making it look like that.
Right.
And that's when I saw that, and I thought, gosh, I could do that, and with the double twist. So I thought that's when the penny dropped, and I should get in. I get into stunts. I was trained in microbiology. That's what I actually did at university, and that's where I started to go down the research and development route. But it was clear I didn't want to look down the end of a microscope for the rest of my life. So I was too physical. And when I finished the competitive arena with gymnastics, I still wasn't finished being physical. And when I saw that, it was like, yes, that's where I should be. And that's where I ended up. And I'm still physical. And I think that's great. And I think it helps to keep me young, especially like you were saying earlier, we were chatting and you're saying, is it a young man's game? But yes, it is. I mean, there's always someone younger, more talented, more beautiful coming through the door. But because I've kept going, and I think that's the key, to never stop. I have maintained a level of fitness, and anyone that looks at me, obviously we're on the radio, you can't see, but they're like, I cannot believe you're 50. It's just because I've not stopped. And I think It's, that whole thing of telling your body that it's got to keep doing what it does, and it maintains a usefulness.
It's the classic use it or lose it, I guess, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I went out last night with some stunt colleagues, and I'm still jumping around with the best of them, and they range from sort of 25 to my age. So it is a young man's game, but if you maintain your health and your fitness, then you can keep going well into your
So tell me, how does it work? Do you have a specialism? I mean, do you, like, I don't know, walking through fire or driving cars, all this? Presumably all stuntmen have a specialism of some sort, do they?
There are stunt guys that specialize in certain areas, like they specialize in horses, or like you say, the cars or motorbikes. My speciality has always been acrobatics with my gymnastic background. So anything at height, with the diving as well, and anything that involves orientating yourself in time and space. So spatial awareness, anything like that. So it will be acrobatic maneuvers, can be fighting, falling off things, jumping off things. That's really my specialty. So anything at height. I've been nominated for a World Stunt Award for best work at height. So that's really my
work at height. Tell us the highest thing you've done then.
Well, I just did a 17-meter cliff dive for that commercial I was saying in Croatia, and also I've done an 80-foot high fall from the top of a building with 1 3/4 somersaults onto an airbag. That was a really cool job. That was for and that was doubling a woman. So you get to double all sorts of people. It's not just men. I've doubled women quite a few times. Ruth Wilson on The Little Stranger as well, and that was so for the one with the 80-foot high fall, that was for Claire Goose on Waking the Dead. That was her exit as she died and ended up on a car bonnet 80 foot below.
Goodness. Well, I was going to ask about who you might double for, because I guess you've answered it already. Do you have to double for people that you look like? I mean, is there an audition where, okay, he looks like this particular actor, he'll do? Or is it a bit more sophisticated than that?
Well, in this country, we have what's called the British Stunt Register, which is the official body for stunt people in this country. And once you've gone through the training regime, which is a rigorous training regime, you have to do 6 disciplines to a certain level, which are then ticked off by experts in those areas. And then you join the Stunt Register. And in this register, it's like a directory. And so they'll have a picture of all of you and your vital statistics. So when you need to be able to, the productions want you to double someone, they'll go through this book, or the stunt coordinator will go through the book and see who is closest, either in looks wise or just height, weight, shape, etc. And they'll select you from that and get you directly from the Stunt Register. So, but it can be, like I say, a varied group of individuals that you do double. I mean, I've doubled Cillian Murphy probably the most, which is great. He's a little bit taller, but sometimes you have to use the tricks of the trade and put step-ins in your shoes. I've done that quite a few times.
I bet quite often you're wearing a hat just before you do the stunt.
Absolutely. The commercial I did in Croatia was a sort of an Indiana Jones style theme, and I had a hat on for that. And doing a 17-meter cliff dive and keeping the hat on was a feat in itself.
Is that why in all the films, Indiana Jones films, he's wearing a hat? Be.
Well, it helps. It helps.
Yeah.
It helps especially if the double's doing it. I think that's just his trademark. But yeah, you'll have to wear all sorts of things. On the Little Stranger doubling Ruth Wilson, they give me a special undersuit which has got boobs in, and it's got padded a bottom to make me more shapely and curvy in the hip and buttock department. It's strange. It's bizarre, actually. I mean, some of the costumes are really, really difficult. And I think one of the sort of key factors of being a stunt performer is being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Right. Like costumes and strange costumes. You got wigs and to deal with, and it's always you might train these things and you might rehearse them, but on the day everything changes. So you have to be really adaptable and act quickly, because like I say, you'll train something and you'll do it in rehearsals and it'll be fine in your tracksuit or in these sort of more sterile conditions, and then suddenly on the day you've got wind coming at you, you've got rain, you've got a wig on that's getting in your face, you've got a nightie on, you've got boobs that you never had 5 minutes ago, and there's so much to deal with that you really do have to adapt with it.
Well, in some ways that's like competing at an elite level. I guess it's never going to be the same each time you compete. There'll be sort of nuances.
That's right, and that's why the gymnastics is such a great background for me. Anyway, that competitiveness that you have, and it is all about adapting on the day and getting that performance focus, discipline, and just getting out there and doing it and get the job done.
Let me ask you a question which is a bit different, because we're kind of similar ages. I'm a bit older actually. I'm 55, and on the TV when I must have been 10 or 11, something like that. So when you were a kid, did you ever see the milk tray adverts?
Of course, yes, I did. The dive off the cliff.
Yes, because when I heard, right, you're a stuntman and you're kind of similar age to me, I thought maybe that's what he saw as a kid and thought that's what I'm going to be when I grow up.
I did see that, yes, and that was actually Alf Joint, a famous stuntman in this country that did that. And I used to see all those images, and I just aspired to anything that was glossy and the Hollywood sort of thing. Really, that's what that inspired me as a kid. And there was a girl, commercials in particular. So adverts like that were incredibly inspirational. There was a girl at school who did a Bachelor's Soup commercial, and I just remember being in awe of the fact that she could be in my class, but I'd seen her on TV and she was in everybody's home. And that was one of the driving forces that sort of took me down into the film and television route, because those commercials particularly were very inspirational.
Well, those adverts, that was the milk tray advert, is kind of in the psyche of anyone our age, isn't it, who grew up in the UK?
Yes, it's absolutely.
Kind of, it'll never leave. It's stuck in our brains.
Yep, I think I'm doing it now. So every day I get to be the milk tray man, and that's really cool.
Brilliant. So I've got to ask you, because I mean, this is dangerous stuff, isn't it? I mean, or it can be dangerous. Presumably, you limit the dangers as much as absolutely possible. But have you ever got hurt, and do you sometimes feel a little concerned?
You try and mitigate as many of the risks as possible and make it as safe as possible. But even the simplest stunts can go wrong, and they can have devastating consequences when they do. I do get nervous, and I think that nervousness is important, because there's nothing natural about chucking yourself off a building. And with the nerves and the adrenaline, you're just able to focus and channel that energy into a mind over matter situation where you're able to just get over that and push yourself off the edge. And I think that's what separates people from, either being a stuntman or not. You're just able to take it that step further, focus, discipline, and really just push yourself over the edge. And yes, I have hurt myself. I've broken my teeth, my nose, my shoulder. I've snapped my leg in half. I've snapped my Achilles. Yeah, it's it's a painful route, I suppose, but
and then you come back for more after breaking your leg.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I do. I'm still not done yet.
No, well, let's get on to that. So you were talking about, in fact, you seem pretty proud the fact that you're 50 and you're still doing this, going strong, doing this very physical job. You're not just doing it, you're doing it rather well, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm proud. It's one of those, people fall by the wayside. I know a lot of people who are now in wheelchairs. They've, had terrible accidents along the way, and it's like it's a success story to still be going at 50, and I celebrate that, and the fact that I am still doing everything to the level that is like the same as a 25-year-old, and I'm very proud of that. I'm still in the gym with them, tumbling like I used to, even doing all the moves that I used to do as a competitive gymnast. So I do give myself a bit of a pat on the back, but I think it's, the key is that I haven't really stopped. I've just kept going. I think it's when you stop, that's when the rot really sets in.
Sure. Tell us a bit about the training regime then. I mean, is there a gym where all the stuntmen go to together, and work on being supple and tumbling and all this kind of stuff? How does the training actually work? Have you got a trainer?
I don't have a trainer at the moment. I have a coach, a gymnastics coach. I still have a coach for the gymnastics, because I like that little bit of a push and that a bit of a private session. But yes, there are gyms that stuntmen go to and congregate, and we have sort of open sessions. A lot of people go to the gym to practice their fight skills or hone in on their gymnastics and spatial awareness, again, that you can practice. And that's what I do. I will tumble, I can still get on the high bar, do the vault, and I really just, again, keeping myself as agile as possible and just keeping the skills that I have alive.
I mean, it does sound fantastic. It sounds very glamorous, but there must be because all jobs have an element of kind of not quite boredom, but just normal sort of stuff. So, going to the gym early on a Monday morning when it's raining, it's going to be like, going to work on a Monday morning for everyone else at times, is it? Or is it all glamorous?
No, it's not glamorous at all. I mean, the movie industry in general isn't glamorous. Everyone thinks of it like that, but it's a dirty, dark, dusty studio most of the time. And you don't see the daylight from 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. There are a few jobs that are glamorous along the way, but for the most part, it really isn't. And like you say, just going to the gym is part of my job, so it can become a bit boring. And I just try to, if I haven't trained for a while, I just try to shake it up a bit by, if I haven't been training for a while, I will just go and do cardio just to sort of motivate myself, and then eventually I'll do cardio a few times, and then I'll add some weights in to make it a bit more exciting. And then you get into a rhythm and a regime, and you end up back to where you were full on training, which is good. I just try to make it as, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to train. Otherwise it will become a chore. And sure. I think the main thing is to keep it fresh and just enjoy what you're doing. So yeah, it can be a bit mundane, but I try and make it as appealing to myself and not like a chore as possible.
Will you train for a specific stunt? So if in a couple of weeks' time you've got a huge dive to do, will you then really concentrate on the diving and all that sort of thing? Train for a specific stunt?
Yes. Absolutely. I don't go into anything blind. So just for example, that cliff dive in Croatia, I took myself off to Cornwall to some quarries there and started working my way up to 17 meters. So I started at 9 meters and then I would go up to 12. And I researched this particular area where they have these quarry cliffs. And so I wasn't just going into the commercial blind. I really did train for it. I prepped the distances. I would go up to the top of the cliff, measure it, make sure that, the water was clear below and put together a clear training path so that when it came to the actual job, I was really ready for it. And I knew exactly what I was doing and how it was going to feel. Because a lot of the time, especially when you're doing anything at height, it's the unknown of how is it going to feel in time and space. So it was important for me to mentally prepare for it as well as physically from that height. So I'd take myself to these different heights, and eventually, I had prepped it all before I actually set foot on the commercial set in Croatia.
So do you have, for all the training and certainly for the thing itself, do you have like a backup team? When you went to Cornwall, did you have, people in, I don't know, scuba equipment ready to, in case you needed to be just plucked out of the water? Is there a team behind you the whole time?
Oh, there is. Yes. If you're doing something from that height, if it went wrong, it could be disastrous. You can really, really hurt yourself badly, even kill yourself from that height. So yes, we've got safety divers in the water ready if anything goes wrong, to pull you out and get you out there. There's a whole team behind you. You've got your stunt coordinator who's trying to mitigate as many of the risks as possible in the surrounding areas. And you've been through it. You've thoroughly recce the site, so you know everything, the tides, how deep you're diving into, and it's very well thought out, and you do have a team behind you that is trying to mitigate as many of the risks as possible. And it's definitely teamwork. I mean, it's a really close-knit, tight community, so it's very teamwork based.
That part sounds very nice. So, I mean, generally speaking, I think I know what the answer to this question might be, the way you've been talking about it. Is it fun? And would you suggest it to others who are thinking, you know what, I might try and become a stuntman? Would you say, yes, give it a go? Or, it's kind of a strange life, don't do it. What would you tell people?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because if someone had told me when I was a cross-legged student in school on the assembly room floor that I could be a stuntman when I grew up, I would have jumped at it, literally jumped at it, because I was physical. I didn't know it really existed. It was something that other people did, and it was something out of my reach. But I had the opportunity to go around schools on a school tour and actually speak to kids and take them through a little training day at the school and get them interested. And it is a valid career choice. Being physical and involved in sport, it doesn't have to end with the competitive arena. There is life after that, and you can use your physical ability and sporting skills for a valid career. And the stunt profession is one of those. And so, yes, I would advocate it and say, if that's something you aspire to and you're physical and you'd love to do that for a living, then yeah, today it is a very, very valid career choice. And the filming industry in this country is incredibly buoyant. So it's very busy right now. It's not like in days gone by when it was quite quiet and it was just a select group of individuals that would go from film to film. There's room for everybody. And we need more people, really, especially with different remits of productions and ethnic diversity. There's a lot more people getting into it, which we need.
Good. All right. Well, that's very good to hear. I'm sure people will be very interested in hearing that. Let me just ask you, sort of, finally, you keep very fit, in good physical condition at 50. Now, do you kind of ever help others do that? I mean, being fit at 50 is, it can be a big deal. I'm 55, I'm not 20 anymore. If I go for a run, I kind of feel it. Do you do anything to try and bring other 50-year-olds along with you?
Well, I like to think that I may inspire a few individuals, especially.
You've inspired me today. I'm not about to jump off a massive cliff, but I might go for a jog.
I think it's about doing something, and just whether it's going for a walk and a brisk walk, or just getting out there and doing something, being active. It doesn't have to be jumping off a cliff or jumping out of a window. I mean, that is a little bit extreme, but just taking those first steps to keep a little bit fitter, watch what you eat, a healthier lifestyle. And I think it really does show in generally keeping fit as you get older. And as you get older, I think there's that sort of suddenly, oh my gosh, I really do have to start looking after myself, because, you get one chance, one vehicle, which is, your body, to go through this life, that you need to start looking after. And I'd say to anybody, I mean, you can do it. It could be just, I mean, if you are able-bodied, to at least just go out there and walk, or just try to start. Make it fun. It's something you enjoy doing, whether it is walking, rambling, cycling. It doesn't have to be to a massive level. It's just actually being active and keeping going. I think that's a big thing to just
good.
Get the ball rolling.
All right, Nicholas, let me just bring it back to the stunt work. If people have been listening to this and thinking, you know what, I'd like to explore that possibly as a career or the next part of my life, is there sort of a website for professional stuntmen that people could have a look at and find out a bit more?
Yes, there is. It's the British Stunt Register. You can get in touch with them. We have a website, and they will set out the criteria that you need to become a member of that register. And it's a vigorous training regime, but it's well worth it. And it's the way forward. If that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. You should join the British Stunt Register, because they are the official body in this country.
Excellent. Right. Nicholas, thank you so much for chatting. Absolutely fascinating. I loved listening to you.
Absolute pleasure. I mean, I can talk for Great Britain about it. I'm really passionate. I'm very passionate about what I do, and it's great. You get to do so many different things and all of the big movies, and the kind of cool thing is that you probably see me 100 times, but you don't know me. That's kind of cool.
Yes, interesting. Right. Well, perhaps we'll have to make it a series.
Yeah, I could talk again, about the movies I've done and things. So anytime.
Okay. All right. But for this time, many thanks.
Pleasure.
This show is cool.
Before we move on, we have these messages from UK Health Radio.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
How good are vitamin C supplements? Usually only a small proportion of vitamin C actually reaches your cells and has a positive effect. Whereas the high absorption levels of Goldman Laboratories liposomal vitamin C help maintain optimal vitamin C levels in your body and strengthen your immune system. Now get 10% off when you choose Goldman Laboratories liposomal vitamin C capsules. Just quote 10 off at goldmanlaboratories.com.
Do you suffer from pain? B-Cure Laser, a home-use CE-approved medical device for the effective treatment of pain, is now available in the UK. The results of a double-blind trial has shown that B-Cure Laser offers a significant reduction in pain compared to the placebo group. To get your special B-Cure offer now, call free on 0808 501 5122 or Google Radio Pro London. B-Cure Laser.
B-Cure Laser.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Who doesn't like a nice family get-together over a meal? It's time to sit and chat, gossip, laugh, moan, complain about work or school, and yes, sometimes even argue. All families argue a little bit, I think, don't they? We'll shortly hear my chat with Andre Dupin. He's head chef of Hello Fresh. But first, just let me really thank the listeners to the Relax Back UK show and to UK Health Radio as a whole. Please do remember, if you have a message you would like to share with the over 1.2 million listeners each month, it's easy to do that. If you want more info on how to spread the word, whichever word that might be that you want to spread, do email me for a bit more information. That's probably the best thing to do in the first instance. My email is mike@relaxbackuk.com. Now, on to my chat with Andre Dupin of Hello Fresh.
Good, right. So my guest today is Andre Dupin. Actually, Andre, I got asked, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Absolutely spot on, yes.
Oh, good. Right, and so you're head chef at Hello Fresh. And I've got to say, from what I know of Hello Fresh, it sounds like head chef sounds the best job in the world, because what you do is you pack up all the stuff, send it off to your customers, and you don't actually do any cooking. So Absolutely. Head chef sounds a bit of a jolly to me.
It is a bit of a jolly. It's quite a lot of hard work as well. You know, a lot of thought and a lot of consideration goes into the recipes that we send out. So yeah.
Obviously, I was being a bit facetious. Yeah. So tell us, as head chef for a company that gets their customers to do all the cooking, what do you do?
Basically, we're trying to create that perfect mealtime opportunity for anyone, really. So whether you're a family, whether you're someone with, you know, not too much time to cook, we're just trying to give you recipes that you can cook at home nice and quickly, nice and stress-free, and then sit down and enjoy with whoever you decide to share it with.
Good. Well, I got to say, I do quite enjoy cobbling stuff together in my kitchen, but it can be a bit tiring when, you know, I haven't got all the stuff, all the ingredients, and you're just missing the whatever it might be. So having a box arrive with everything in it, you know, it sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, and everything's weighed out. You use everything that's in the box, and it's just a process of, you know, following a quite straightforward recipe card, following the instructions, you know, making sure you're tasting it so that it's to your taste, and then bingo, before you know it, you've got a great meal in front of you. I
do sometimes fill my family with fear and dread because I will announce, right, dinner tonight is whatever with variations, because if I'm missing the whatever it might be, I have to, you know, make it up. And my son, particularly, who's 11, this look of fear comes over his face and he thinks, oh, my goodness, what on earth has Dad done now? So, it would sort of stop that a little bit.
It would definitely fix that problem. And then the other thing you can get with HelloFresh is you get your 11-year-old son to choose the meal with you, and then you get your 11-year-old son to cook the meal with you. So before you know it, he's taking responsibility for the meal, and you're no longer the man under the spotlight. Is
this what a head chef does? Kind of points and directs other people.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. It's just about effective delegation. That's what I call it.
I like the sound of that. This piece is about really family meal times, because a lot of people do find that important. But generally speaking, do you think we still value family meal times?
I think people do. I think, you know, coming out of the back of lockdown, and to some people it was like a great release to be able to finally be out of the house. But at the same time, I think everyone appreciated the time they were spending together and just having time to stop and, you know, connect as a unit, you know, and make those kind of emotional connections that you can make when you're sitting down, just enjoying yourself, having a nice time, relaxing, rather than continually staring at your phone or being distracted by something else. You know, it has, you know, multiple benefits.
Do you think the draw, actually, it might be different for parents or children? Do you think the draw is the food or the gossip?
I think it's probably a bit of both. I think the food probably first, and then the food opens up, and the occasion opens up the opportunity to, you know, to kind of understand what's going on in each other's lives. You know, I don't know about your kids, but when they come in from school, you can get very little out of them. Give them a couple of hours, sit them down, have some food with them. As I said, it's a completely different environment. And all of a sudden you're talking about stuff that they wouldn't necessarily bring up. You know, and that's a massive benefit for them as well.
No, I agree. Often when my children come home from school, how was school? Fine.
Exactly.
And it's like getting blood out of a stone to get any more information out very often.
Exactly.
So, yeah, my experience is during dinner, stuff can come out. And actually, one thing I've discovered, which I like, I've got two children. I've got a 16-year-old daughter as well. She will start spinning a yarn, telling a story. And, I've discovered she's actually pretty funny. She can tell a really good, funny story. I think she might even be a stand-up comic. She makes me laugh anyway.
You know, and it's, you know, part of that is probably just that period of time where you're all together and you're all just switched off from everything else that goes on in the day or is going on in the background. It's a time to stop.
I agree. And so with that, are you a little bit tyrannical when it comes to telephones and devices at the dinner table?
I am. That's a no-go zone. You know, everyone else is, you know, it's a continual debate and a constant challenge. But I think dinner table, there's a pretty hard rule about come on, guys, we don't need our phones at dinner.
Yes, and I really try and do that, although sometimes I get caught out myself. If I don't always practice what I preach, the children are the first to let me know it. And that fair play to them, really.
And absolutely. Sometimes you start a conversation that you don't always have the answer to, and then you're scrabbling for your phone to get to the facts. So yeah, it's too easy these days to rely on your phones to answer all your questions.
What about eating in front of the TV? Because I know some families do this. We do it very rarely. It's like on a really special occasion. What do you say to people about that?
I think I'm not going to be dogmatic about it. I think there are occasions where you can do that kind of thing. I'm not sure it's the healthiest thing to do every night, but create occasions. Movie night, we'll have a pizza. We'll make a pizza. We'll sit down. We'll watch film together. You just create different environments, and then it doesn't always have to be around what's on TV. It can be, let's have this, whatever night you want to call it, whether it's taco night or sausage and mash night, whatever it is. You create the occasion around the meal, and then as I said before, if you get your kids engaged in the cooking, then they suddenly take an ownership of it, and they'll have that sense of achievement at the end of it, a bit of pride. They'll be looking for a few compliments, and all these kind of things just kind of will boost their mood. It will also kind of give them skills that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives. And cooking food, if you start when you're young, it's the kind of thing you don't forget, and you just keep it with you all your life.
No, I agree, certainly. Do you have a favourite family kind of meal memory that in some ways you kind of try and recreate for other people through HelloFresh?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one. I mean, my dad was a chef, so that's where I kind of inherited this kind of love of food and cooking. And I think when I was a kid, his day off was Sundays, so he would cook for us on the Sunday, and it was his opportunity to kind of show us what he was capable of. And often it was a roast. Other times it was like something much more exotic. But what I remember from it is that it always tasted good. It was always a bit of an occasion, and we all stopped and we all sat around and chatted. And we didn't always spend that much time together because he was always working. So it was that nice opportunity to just kind of catch up.
Right. What I was really getting at was any of the sort of meals from your childhood that are available via HelloFresh.
I think the obvious one, is that the old classic, the roast dinner. You can buy a roast dinner on HelloFresh. It comes with everything you need. It's relatively stress-free compared to if you tried to kind of do it at home and conjure everything up from all the different corners of your cupboards and your fridge. And I think that is one that sticks with everyone. It's a crowd pleaser. Everyone enjoys it. When we do a roast at home, everyone's delighted as long as there's enough roast potatoes.
That's the key in my experience.
Yeah,
the roast potatoes have got to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So do them properly. Spend some time on them. Fluff them up with a bit of flour, and then make sure there's enough gravy for everyone to mop everything up with. So yeah.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about HelloFresh and the sort of where the ingredients come from, and just how fresh are they? Are they kind of picked that morning, put in a box, and sent to you? How does it all work?
I think they're definitely fresher than the stuff you buy in the supermarket. So the without getting too technical about it, the supply chain from field to our box is shorter than it is through a supermarket. So your food is definitely fresher. We source as many ingredients as we can from the UK, and we try and keep it seasonal when we can. So all those ambitions are built into the box and the company as a whole. Right.
And so it sounds like the food miles are generally a bit less. You're trying to get things locally. What about when I go shopping? Often, obviously, you shop with your eyes, but often I shop with my nose as well, which upsets a lot of market stall holders. If you open a box of HelloFresh, is it an exciting thing for your nose as well as your eyes?
I'm not sure it's an exciting thing for your nose because ultimately our recipes are kind of packaged up in little brown bags. So I'm not sure it's exciting for your nose. the excitement for your nose comes when you start cooking. So once you start frying off those onions, start adding the garlic, all those kind of aromas suddenly get the juices flowing. So I would say that the aroma part of it perhaps comes later.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. Fair enough. Right. So if people are listening to this and their digestive juices are frankly starting to run a little bit and they're feeling a little bit peckish and they want to get involved, what's the best thing for them to do? Does HelloFresh work on a one-off thing, or is it a monthly? Do you sign up for a number of months? How does it all work?
It's a subscription service. So you go to hellofresh.co.uk, you sign up, and then, what you can do from there on in once you're signed up is you basically get a choice of over kind of 37 meals a week that you can pick from, and they'll deliver them 3 days later. And, you manage your meal choice. And I think that's what's great about it, is that you have all this choice. And the other thing you can do is get your kids involved in that selection process, get them to choose the meals. Then when the box arrives, it's exciting. It's like, oh, great, HelloFresh is here. It was the meal I chose. Oh, I'm going to help cooking it.
Right.
I'm going to help cook it. And then all of a sudden, it's a very different experience to ordering a takeaway.
No, absolutely. And is this available just in the UK, or do you send stuff overseas to expats, who might got a posting overseas and they're really hankering after a bit of food from home?
We don't need to send it from we're a global business. So we have the same company exists in many countries, whether it's the States, Australia, New Zealand, up in Norway, Italy, France, all over Europe, just about to launch in some other countries as well. So, it's a rapidly expanding company, and we're aiming to offer this product to as many people as we can across the world. And we'll tailor the recipes to that market.
And are the menus and the recipes different, like in Italy, as opposed to... Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Each market, each country has their own selection of ingredients, selection of recipes, and they're very, very they're tailored very much to their particular audience.
Okay, all right. And so, right, again, if people are listening to this and thinking, my mouth's watering, I want to go, what's the website? I'm sure it's a fairly simple one.
Yeah, hellofresh.co.uk.
Cool. Right, Andre, thank you very much indeed for chatting.
Pleasure.
So before we finish today's show, these messages from UK Health Radio.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Scalar light is the quantum energy emitted from the universe, from the sun and stars. Now, Tom Palladino, a humanitarian and scalar light researcher, has created the world's only scalar light healing system, a system that can bring long-distance healing and wellness to humans, pets, and plants via a photograph. Get your free 15-day trial now at scalarlight.com or click on the Scalar Light banner on the UK Health Radio website.
Shields like masks are top of mind right now. But did you know you have inner armor working constantly to protect you from pathogens? It keeps you healthy and thriving. It's your immune system. Ion Gut triggers the body's natural ability to support gut strength all year long, so your immune system can protect you when you need it the most. How are you treating your inner armor? Visit uk.ionbiome.com to learn more. Ion Gut. Protect what protects you.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Thank you very much to my guests on this week's show, and they were Nicholas Dayne's Stuntman, and as I said, all-round cool guy, love chatting with him, and Andre Dupin, head chef of HelloFresh. Thank you very much to my guests, and of course, thank you to you for listening.
That was the Relaxed and UK show with me, Mike Dilwood. Thank you for listening, and please do join us again next time.